Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to this next episode in the Rookie Entrepreneur series. I think this is episode 3. Excuse the dog's lying down. What I wanted to talk about in this video is things that I think are important before you even get started in thinking about a business. Where I am this month, so that's the end of July, beginning into the beginning of August. Ended up doing more than 900 potatoes in July, about 1,000. So the target was 1,200. So I didn't end up as far off from my target as I expected. Excuse the noise. After that was a tractor. Excuse the noise. So I didn't end up as far off from my target as I expected. After that kind of meant to be a regular thing ended up being one night. I have kind of resumed my former strictness for making sure that people are going to give things a fair chance before I waste my time kind of starting them. So really good. Ended up not far off the target. Slightly lower deficit on the target than last month, so that's good. And next month's already looking, pretty good at the minute. And bear in mind that I'm off the target again this month, but the target has gone up, goes up by 300 potatoes every month. So it is increasing all the time, and I keep putting it up even if I totally miss it. So I've put August targets up again, so it's 1,500 potatoes. So this is kind of pushing me to try and create as much income sensibly and ethically as possible. I think something that's really important is if you want to have a business, if you're gonna be an entrepreneur, then I think one of the most important things to do is to make sure that you're good with finance. Now, there's at least two meanings to the terms financial intelligence. One would be your ability to understand accounts and things like that, ledgers, profit and loss, yada yada yada. Did accounts at college, didn't like it. So basically, that's one understanding or one meaning of financial intelligence, and another is basically like having a good financial education and making financially educated decisions. And I think I've always known how to be wealthy. I just never really had any particular drive to become wealthy. And I think that, as I've said before, I think that part of it is to do with religion and things like that, and you don't want to make too much money. And I remember one of my managers, I can't remember if I said this, but one of my managers in the car trade saying it's almost like you're scared to make too much money or something like that. So there was definitely a kind of block before. As I said before, there isn't now. I want to make as much money as I possibly can ethically, because I'd like to be a philanthropist. So that is my ideal career. So shoot for the stars. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So money is kind of made up at the end of the day, and I think I can be a good custodian of enough money to be able to help lots of other people. And I think it's always good to start as you mean to go on. So I have decided to set aside 10% of what I earn from this month in what I'm calling the kindness fund. So that's just to kind of support things and support people when they're struggling. So obviously, hopefully over time, the percentage that I'm able to give will increase. It's like saving. Some people say that I'm going to save. Yeah, I'm definitely going to save. I'm like, they're going to try and save a big amount, but they never get around to saving. And I remember doing that when I was in the car trade and I was young, and I remember speaking to the bank and I was like, I'm thinking about saving about 400 a month, and what type of savings account should I get and things like that. And did I end up doing it? I think I probably did for a while, but it's better to save something that's totally achievable than shoot too high and not save anything, which I've definitely done before. So financial intelligence, I think that I've always had a good level of financial intelligence, but I haven't really applied it because up until my late 30s, my philosophy was you can sleep in your car, but you can't race your house. And I've always loved fast cars, and the most important thing, not the most important thing, but materially speaking, the most important thing was the next fast car on my shopping list. And I could have been retired already if I hadn't done that. I don't regret it at all. If I'd known there was a pandemic coming, I definitely would have made some different decisions. But life's too short. I think the most important thing is that you learn from your experiences in life and then you apply what you learn, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm very determined now that every decision I make is going to be financially intelligent, and I'm not going to ignore what my financial intelligence is telling me. I'm going to do the financially intelligent thing, because I don't want to ever end up in a situation again like I did after the pandemic and during the pandemic and with my last job and things like that, sleeping in a Land Rover and not earning for a long time. So financial intelligence, this is a monthly payment culture we live in, and I think most people tie up most of their money in monthly payments. I've done it myself, and that's not a criticism, that's an observation. I also don't think that's very financially intelligent, so I'm saying that wasn't a financially intelligent decision when I did it. Whether other people feel it is for them or not is really their point of view. That's just my point of view. But if you're going to run a business, then you're going to be in charge of the finance of your company, and if you can't manage your personal finances with intelligence, then you're gonna probably have more costly mistakes with the business if you're dealing with bigger money. So I think that on a number of levels, employing financial intelligence in your life, in your personal finances, is extremely important. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that I think this has been said so many different ways in so many different books, and nothing is new here. People have been talking about this for hundreds of years. So if somebody says, I'm going to tell you this, and this is how rich people get rich, and blah, 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 and buy this or buy that, and there's nothing new about any of this. But one of the first steps in making financially intelligent decisions with your money is to decide how you're going to divide up your income. So, as I said, what most people do is commit all or nearly all of their income in monthly payments, which is fine until it means you're paying a lot of interest, which obviously people realize. You can either be somebody who makes money from interest or is always paying interest. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather be the person that's earning interest than paying it to other people. So there's obviously absolutely a place for loans in business. Most big companies operate with loans and things like that. But a good starting point, I think, is to get into a good financial position personally. And the way that I would suggest doing that is divide up your income purposefully. So for example, you might say that, okay, I'm not going to spend any more than 50% of my income on necessities. Now, your necessities probably will outweigh 50% of your income. So that might mean making decisions about how you spend your money, and that probably means thinking about or truly understanding what's a need and what's a want, because a lot of things that people call needs are actually wants. And if you want to be in a really good financial position, if you want to grow wealthy, then you need to have cash that isn't tied up in needs and wants, very simply. So say for example, you might divide, you might put 50% into your necessities. So that's 50%. So then if we say, for example, so for me, I'm giving 10% or putting 10% into a kindness fund to give away. So that's 60%. Then let's say, for example, I save 10%. So this is personal income, not my business income. So let's say I save 10%, so that's 70. And then let's say, for example, I put 10% into an investment fund, so that would be 80%. Then I spend maybe 10% on leisure, so that's 90%. And what would I spend the other 10% on? Let's say, for example, if I had any loans or something like that to repay, I would make sure that they didn't exceed 10% of my income. So most people would look at that and say, there's no way that I can do that. And for a lot of people, you maybe couldn't in your current circumstances. So that could mean making pretty drastic changes to your life. You know, a lot of people want to have the big house and the nice car and, you know, whatever, and if they can afford it in a monthly payment, then they're quite happy with that. And that's absolutely fine. Everyone has to do what feels right for them, but you're never going to become wealthy doing that. So so basically, that's one of the most important steps, I think, in is increasing your financial intelligence and really getting a handle on how you manage your personal finances. And that's the way that I manage my personal finances. And that means that I'm not spending more on necessities than 50%. I'm saving 10%. I'm putting 10% aside for investments. While I'm in the gym or working on cars or whatever, I'm learning about the stock market and things like that. So you know, so that's what I'm planning on doing with that 10%. Is investing it in stocks and shares, and that's different from my business income. Obviously, I'm heavily investing business. You know, right now, I mean, I'm taking, you know, as little money as I possibly can. I'm not really spending any money on anything other than food, fuel, bills. There's really not much money getting spent on any treats at all. And I would regard getting a Costa as a treat, you know, or getting getting a McDonald's as a treat or something like that. Something that a lot of people would routinely spend money on, and I have as well, without even thinking about it. So, and that's basically because I'm needing to grow things extremely quickly. I've got catching up to do because I was kind of out of the game for a few years. So, so the more money I can keep in the business, the quicker I can grow the business. And it's really important to spend money on marketing, which is definitely a subject for a video. And marketing is something that a lot of people don't do very well at all, particularly in businesses where you didn't really need to do much in the way of marketing. And those are, the types of businesses that rely on culture. I'll talk about that more in another video, but basically there's a good starting point. You could get yourself into a lot of trouble very quickly with a company if you can't manage your own finances in an intelligent way. And also, if you're gonna want to start a company, then you're gonna need some money. You don't need loads of money. Most of the companies I started with $4,000 on a credit card. My entertainment's company, my tooth whitening company, I can't remember what else, but yeah, I mean, most of the things I've started, I haven't invested a lot of money in starting them, and I wasn't really even investing money. I was using a credit card. So, and the way that you handle your finances in business is different. I'm not saying that you divide your business income up like that. That's another conversation for another video. But I think it's really important, if you want to go from being an employee to being an entrepreneur, I think one of the most important things to do is to be able to have discipline in your own spending and to decide what you're going to do, and decide that you'll hear lots of people say this, but pay yourself first. So the first thing that you're always doing, as soon as you get paid, ideally stand in order into a different account is your 10% that you're saving. Stand in order into another account, your investment money. It's really easy to have lots of different pots now in current accounts. You don't have to have loads of different accounts like I used to have. I used to have like a main account and then all these different savings accounts for different things. So it's really easy to do that now. And if you want to succeed in business, then you really need to be able to do that. A lot of people create a company and they make some good money, and it's maybe more money than they made before, and so they start spending, taking big dividends and buying loads of things that for the company that are maybe wants more than actual needs, and that limits the growth potential of the company, and that's not what I would recommend doing. For a long time, I will be paying myself the same. What's the word I'm looking for? The same salary that's not, it's not a big salary. Because the more money I have in my business, the faster I can build it. It's as simple as that. And that means putting aside, wants and being clear about what's a want and what's a need. So it's a very simple thing to say. It's not so simple to do, or it's simple to do, but it's more difficult to do, because it involves maybe not doing things that you want to do, or stopping doing things that you're doing, or maybe moving into a smaller house, or moving from a house into a flat, or getting rid of a car that you've got on PCP that costs 300 or 400 quid a month, or whatever it is, changing your spending habits drastically, whatever it is, that is something that wealthy people do, and people that have become wealthy, they have a clear plan about what they're doing with their money every month, and if you're going to become wealthy, you have to be disciplined with money. You absolutely have to be disciplined. You don't have to be particularly smart. There's lots of rich people who are not smart at all, and I'm not being mean. There's lots of rich people who would say that they're not academic. You don't need to be academic to be rich. There's also different ways of becoming rich, and I'll talk about that in another video as well. I'm not really impressed by people who have lots of money that they haven't made in an ethical way. I think you can make money in kind ways that are kind to other people, kind to yourself, and kind to the world. So that would be my kind of that would be my kind of theory. There are people who are, bullies and cheats and users and things like that, and I'm not really impressed by people who make a lot of money in that way. That's not a good way to be. So that's just starting to tackle that subject. Financial intelligence. If you're gonna become wealthy, then that's really step one. Is if you need to radically change your spending habits, that's what you need to do. For most people, what I've just suggested probably wouldn't immediately be possible. So getting into a situation where that is possible would be a good step. And I think some people will be, really like, well, that's ridiculous. Oh, you can't do that, and and whatever. And most things are a choice. And the important thing is the principle. So the percentages I've just given are an idea. Even if it's a smaller percentage for the different things, the main thing is that you're creating the discipline and creating the habit of how you divide up your money. It's not done by chance. You're not tying it all up with once after you've paid for your needs. You're creating discipline, and you are creating a first important step towards becoming wealthier, and a first important step towards being an entrepreneur, a business owner, instead of an employee. So I'm sorry about the background noise. It's a busy day out there. I did close the windows even though it's quite warm, just to try and cut it down a little bit. So I hope that something in that video is helpful to you. It's really good to be in the position where I'm into the beginning of the 4th month here, and as I said to you, it's a shame that I was too busy at the beginning to do a video then, because you could really have seen me really doubting myself, really worried. And it's really, really good to be in a situation where, again, I'm not making lots of money or anything like that, but I am, have managed to create income on my own again, just with opportunities that people have given me, and with support from people as well. And that's even just small things like sharing things on Facebook, or wishing me well, or saying, I think you'll do it, or whatever. So thanks to anyone who's done any of those things. So I hope that you have a good weekend. I'm heading to the unit to finish painting the floor, and try not to paint as much of myself this time. And then a busy weekend of gigs, which I'm looking forward to. And then I really need to get cracking on properly marketing for Autos, because I have still been quite busy with gig things. I'm kind of at the point now where I think there's enough momentum going that I probably won't need to go out looking for work, because I have been starting to get people to approach me, other venues and things like that, asking about what availability I've got. So that's really good. So all that hard work, all that marketing, all the legwork, literally going around with posters, messaging loads of venues, going around loads of venues, all that is starting to pay off. So that's really great. So just remember, when you're starting off, it does take a lot of effort, and it will take time and effort to build up the things that I'm doing as well. So anyway, have a good weekend. I hope that you're all well, and whatever you're doing, I wish you the best in it. Oh, and I should say as well, if you do find anything on my channel helpful, consider subscribing to it. I don't earn any money from YouTube, and I'm not particularly worried about that just now, or about having loads and loads of subscribers, but it would be good to be able to get to 1,000, because that opens up lots of tools that you can't use before you have 1,000 subscribers, like being able to put up polls to ask people what they'd like to talk about, and things like that. That'd be really helpful, both for this and also for my episodes on depression help. So if you feel like subscribing to my channel, then it'll be very much appreciated. Take care.